Who was that saying something? I can hear somebody saying something.
A child. I can hear
Oh, it's a child. Okay. Well,
I recommend everybody be on mute unless only the person speaking should be, otherwise they'll get disturbed.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm muting everybody.
Okay.
And I'm introducing all of you and welcoming all of you. And I'm happy to announce that the meeting is now being successfully recorded. So you're all on record. So watch what you say and don't just say any old rubbish, because one of the reasons for us being here is that this is not just a club of clubby people having a drink together. We are here as a poetry group, as thinking people who are sharing, reading, listening to poems, because we think that the poets of this world are our teachers, they are our leaders, they show us the way by virtue of the fact that they think about things and they put it all down in one page. So they think deeply about a subject and condense it for us. And this is a great pleasure, to have intelligent words on one page. And the beauty of it is they say things we sometimes don't know anything about, but even when we know something about the subject, they say it to us in such a sweet way that it's a soothing balm inside us. So these meetings are not just slap each other on the back. We're trying to go forward, because implicit in this meeting, in these meetings, is that we do not know all the answers. We're trying to find our way forward, and we're taking help from the poets of this world. So in this spirit, which I'm reminding you again, especially for the newcomers, I'm going to start the meeting with the poems that we have already. We have about 7 poems altogether, which is just about enough for all of us to have about 10 minutes of discussion on each poem. So I'm going to get my bell and I'm going to clock you out if you overshoot your 10 minutes. So I'm happy to say that the first person was the first person who sent his poem to us, and that was Vivek. He's timely and he keeps us all on our toes. And so I'm going to ask him to recite the poem that he has chosen. And I'll ask him if he wants me, to send the poem by WhatsApp in writing now or after he has recited the poem. Unmute and come on, Vivek.
Hi, sorry. So I was saying, yeah, I'm happy if you send it on WhatsApp to everybody.
We should send it to WhatsApp, by WhatsApp to everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to do that right now. Okay, it's gone. Please check and then start your recital.
So is Aruna on the WhatsApp group? I'll add you, Aruna. I'll add Aruna.
Yeah, so that she can read the poems, yeah.
I am also not on the WhatsApp group. Please add me also.
Ah. Unmute, yeah.
I'll add you guys, but Vivek, Harbans, send the poem after I've added them. Otherwise, they won't be able to read it, okay?
Good enough, good enough, good enough. We'll wait for you. And Vivek, please wait a minute.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So you're adding Kulpreet and who else? Everybody else is on?
Aruna.
Okay.
And Sanjeev Sharma.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Sanjeev as well, yeah.
And Harbir Singh.
And Harbir, you're not on the list? Oh, okay.
Harbir, I don't have your contact info though.
Okay. Yeah, I can certainly tell you. Shall I give you my contact number?
While we do this, those who have received the poem, take a look.
Kulpreet, have you got the poem?
Yes, please. I got it through Amrita earlier. So I'm
Great,
reading what
great,
Amrita-
great. Okay, and
Let's not come on the poetry circle yet.
Ah, it has not come on the poetry circle?
No.
no, because he was added after you sent it.
Oh, I see.
Harbans,
Oh, so
yeah.
I must now
So-
send it again?
You send
No,
it
just
again.
I think
Just-
wait
just wait.
because yeah, Madam KK is adding some more.
And maybe you can forward between you instead of me going from...
Yeah, so like Amrita forwarded to me, I've already received that.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, I don't have Harbir's contact info. Who has Harbir's contact info?
Yeah.
I'm
Harbir,
not
can
able
you-
to add you, Sanjeev, for some reason. You can invite them privately to join this group. So somebody else can add Sanjeev.
I can give you my telephone number.
Uh,
I can write
okay,
Could ask General Kulpreet, you could forward. Okay, I've got it. Amrita sent it to me. Thank you.
okay, Amrita, can you add Harbir? Can you add Harbir, Amrita?
Amrita is not a group Adam. She will not be able to add. The group Adams are only Vinay Tuli, Vivek Aluwalia. They are the group Adams. And so only the Adam can add.
Ah.
Okay, Vinay, do you have Harbir's contact info? Okay, Harbir, why don't you give us your info and then they can start, okay? I think you may be muted. I can't hear you.
Harbir,
Oh.
speak up.
Yeah, I can give you my telephone number.
Yes.
It's 44 7792 44 7038.
Slowly again.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'll give you 44 is the code number. 77 7792 44 7038.
Okay, I'll try to add you in and perhaps you could start. Huh?
Yeah.
I've
Okay.
added him in.
Okay.
So is everybody receiving the text, the written text through the WhatsApp? Because later on, we don't want to have this whole thing again. Everybody should be on that WhatsApp circuit so that you get the written versions. Anybody not receiving them now? Okay, very good. Vivek G, please start.
When giving is all we have. One river gives its journey to the next. We give because someone gave to us. We give because nobody gave to us. We give because giving has changed us. We give because giving could have changed us. We have been better for it. We have been wounded by it. Giving has many faces. It is loud and quiet, big, though small, diamond and wood nails. Its story is old, the plot worn and the pages too. But we read this book anyway, over and again. Giving is, first and every time, hand to hand, mine to yours, yours to mine. You gave me blue, and I gave you yellow. Together, we are simple green. You gave me what you did not have, and I gave you what I had to give. Together, we made something greater from the difference. As simple and straightforward as a good poem can be.
True, but there's a lot in there. There's a lot in there. Who would like to start?
I see, Kumkum, you like that poem.
I do. I do like it very much. I'm just reading it again. It's a little long.
Yeah.
I can start while everybody else is reading, as I've just read the first part. I love it that it says when giving is all we have, you know, we have it, but we give. So there's sort of a contradiction there. It's like, if you're giving, then you don't have it, right? But you still have it because you can give more. So that's what it sort of, it just felt good reading that.
I think, Kumkum, the idea there is giving is all you can do, not giving all that you have, but giving is the only thing we have to do. We have, giving is all we have.
Well, that's how you interpret it, right? For me, it's, you know, it's what I have. And for you, it's what you do, right? So I have it, but I also give it away. So is it still mine? Probably not, but I can still do it, right? That's how I look at it.
Okay. But I mean, this giving is, in this poem is there are so many versions of giving that, well, what do we make of this then? What do we make of this idea? That,
may I say something?
Yep. Please, Amrita.
So I like the analogy of the colors, the blue and the yellow becoming green. I think in giving there is also this latent understanding of a cycle of give and take, which builds that kind of nurturing sense of harmony. And that is inherent in the giving. So even the taking is a nurturing space and not something which is being taken away.
It was pretty good.
I have two observations. I mean, one serious and one humorous. And I think the context of we have been better for it and we have been wounded by it. So the context of the act and what it has meant. It's a very interesting take. And I think it's very relevant in these times. But less importantly is the point about something greater than the difference. And that's being that Savolic is ahead of Nilgiri and Himalaya.
Always.
We are pathetic, aren't we? Aren't we pathetic scenarians that we go back to?
We're not pathetic at all. We are super.
House colors.
Okay, are we giving and taking
Please.
COVID as well? Is that included? Vivek?
Oh, sorry, you're asking me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's why we get wounded also, right?
We get give and take of COVID, of the virus. So even that is also giving and taking.
Yeah. So actually, I think what the poet, at least to me, has passed on is that, like Amrita, I think very correctly mentioned, giving is an equal part of receiving. It's like, it's basically not a binary action. It is a two-way thing. And, you know, how you give, whether it's voluntary, whether it's with love, whether it is perhaps even sometimes, you know, how do you say it, like with a little bit of grudge you might give. But the thing is that the person who's receiving, it is also receiving it in all kinds of different manners, what it means to him or her. So, you know, giving, for the poet, the way I understand it is, you know, through time and space and through all kinds of situations, it is I think it's the first two lines are very reflective of, I think, what he's trying to say is that if a river doesn't pass on its water to another river or another tributary, it's just going to dry out. So, you have, like the river continues its journey and then moves on, we have to understand, I think, that it's a very integral part of life, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's philanthropy always. Philanthropy can also be, how do you say it? It can be very self-guided. You just probably pass on a lot of money to your old school, and these are usually very rich schools already. So I'm not so sure whether I'm talking about philanthropy. That is also a very big part of giving. But anyway, does anybody else have something to say? I'd love to hear. Then I'll talk to you about the poem.
Raj, quickly.
Unmute.
What's missing to me is giving. The reason for giving is just the pure pleasure of giving. That's the one thing in it that's missing for me.
Okay, I have something to say. Oh, sorry, Leela, please come. Yep.
This is completely my own interpretation. I feel it's a bit like the Gita, give, but not to the fruits thereof. That you should just give. In the end, it sort of culminates with the advantages of giving. Even if you've had a hard time sometimes, you've been hurt when you've given, but you should keep giving. And they give the example of the colors, that things blend and become stronger and better for your giving. And the more selfless the giving is, the more happy it makes everyone. But that's just my own little addition at the end. I love the poem. It's absolutely lovely. And if I may, I'm going to share it with my colleagues at school because I think they would love it. Thank you.
I'd like to add just a thought on this subject. The poem is giving us this idea of how the chain reaction of generosity one to the other.
Exactly.
And it encourages us to do that, as the Gita and many other philosophers and philosophies tell us to do. But I think the poem goes a little bit further than simply repeating that, although it says that in a very pretty way, but it also says it's the context that the same giving can cause hurt. It's not just any old giving, it's in the context of where and what is given to whom and how and when that the giving makes sense. So it's a message. Every giving and taking is a message exchanged. And throw into this the idea that a lot of giving is the giving of bad pennies. There's a circulation of goodwill in giving. There's also a circulation of bad pennies. And those bad pennies have their own economy and circulation. They go from one person to the other. So giving and taking is a big subject, and it's not enough that somebody gave you something. It's what he meant to do in which context. It's just to say that this poem opens up these other ideas as well. Anybody else? Because we're almost at the end of our time.
I could just give you a couple of lines about the poet. His name is Alberto Rios, and he was born on the border of the United States and Mexico, and currently is living in Arizona. In fact, he's been declared the first poet laureate of Arizona, and he has many, many books and publications of poems to his name, and he's a living guy. So we'll write him a letter of thanks.
Lovely.
We read his poem today.
From Arizona to Sanaa. Lovely.
Yeah.
Very encouraging. Very encouraging.
Yeah. Okay, time up. Next poem. Next poem. I had in mind Sanjeev Kapoor, A Blade of Glass, a blade of grass. Sanjeev, where are you?
Send the poem, Harbans.
I will. While I'm sending this poem,
So actually, the title is a bit different. I dropped one word. It's said a blade of grass.
Huh? It's not a blade of grass?
You know, I've looked at a few sources, and places it said a blade of grass, and some places it said a blade of grass. So I don't know which one's
okay.
correct. We'll get to that. So
we
tell
didn't,
me when
we
you
didn't
want me
get
to
the
read
poem.
It's coming, it's coming.
Okay.
It's coming, it's coming.
All right.
It's sent now. This question of the title is just the first line and the title. Sometimes people use the first line as the title. It's not important, I don't think, Sanjeev.
I don't think so, but just in case anyone was pedantic, I thought I'd just share it.
No pedantry around here, please.
Oh, these are synonyms.
Okay, everybody have a read.
Nice.
Should I read? All right.
Anybody
So-
not yet finished? Everybody should have finished reading.
We have.
And did everybody get the poem on their screen?
You know, I wasn't able to add Sanjeev actually.
Aha.
I did try, but no.
Did you get me? My telephone.
I
There are
sent
two
his
Sanjeevs
number
here, double
on
E
the
and
group.
I.
Double E, Sanjeev.
I sent his number on the group.
I just sent it, so if it was, maybe I should refresh. Maybe it's something to do with that. Maybe my system.
I don't think so, but I think
Vinay,
let's
can
get.
I send the number to you then?
I've sent it to you, Sanjeev. You got it from me now.
Okay. So should we proceed?
Okay, if everybody has got the poem and has read it, we'll let Sanjeev Kapoor recite.
Oh, yeah, I've got it.
Okay. So, said a blade of grass. Said a blade of grass to an autumn leaf. You make such a noise falling. You scatter all my winter dreams. Said the leaf indignant, low-born and low-dwelling, songless, peevish thing. You live not in the upper air, and you cannot tell the sound of singing. Then the autumn leaf lay down upon the earth and slept. And when spring came, she waked again, and she was a blade of grass. And when it was autumn and her winter sleep was upon her, and above her through all the air the leaves were falling, she muttered to herself, "Oh, these autumn leaves, they make such a noise. They scatter all my winter dreams."
Nice,
Beautiful.
very nice. Very nice. I liked it.
Thank you.
Switch off roles.
Who did not like it?
Oh.
Anybody wants to criticize or find fault or take it to task?
May
No, nobody's disliking it. I mean, Amrita, go.
So I actually like the fact that this is, it's got a happy tone to it, but it is talking about something very, very deep, which is the cycles of life and how we oscillate between one situation to another, the ups and downs. And our perspectives actually change the way our world is seen by us. So I find it also very playful, the poem in some way, but also very serious, which is an interesting contradiction to have in the style in which this poem is written.
It's about, I think it's about seeing things from the other person's perspective, you know.
Yeah.
You know, when you become the other person, you realize what it is like.
That's the message, yes.
That's the message. When we drive down a road and it's slushy and we splash water on some pedestrian, somebody walking along, we only get to know what happens when we are switching roles and we are the pedestrian and somebody splashes featured on us. That's when we know what it is like, what it feels like to get wet and dirty.
Indeed.
Yeah. That's a very deep meaning in this poem. Yeah.
Please, Vivek, you go.
So just continuing what Amrita said and what Rahul, our great farmer gentleman, just had to offer. So basically, if you really look at it, this is an aspect of life that, you know, starts from birth. You know, you have no idea what your parents are doing for you, what your grandparents are doing for you. And then as you grow up, you look, the role reverses and you have your own children and you look back and say, oh my God, they were really patient with me. It is so much like just about the circle of life and about the inevitability of repetition. It's totally like a circle. And yes, it is. It's a very, very deep poem, but said in a very nice way, very beautiful.
And what's the lesson, Vivek? What's the lesson? What should we do having read this poem?
I would say nothing, because you know you've experienced something, and then you probably don't know what you're experiencing, and you could be indignant, and you could look down upon that situation, and then you grow up, and then it changes. You know, after a few years, it's like a volte-face. The whole thing just changes on its face, and you don't know. Oh well. So I don't. It's something we learn through life. I don't think I have to say that, like, you know, I have to learn something through this particular poem.
No, wait, no. There's a message. You've just given us the message, but a consequence of the message. I mean, the poem invites you to the consequence of that message. Every statement of point of view of a philosophical kind like this has consequences, and so here there is a consequence. I mean, if you are the falling winter leaf, try not to be so noisy, because the
winter dream shouldn't be shattered.
Yeah, I mean, try to anticipate the cycle of life instead of waiting 50 years to find out 50 years later that you got it wrong. See, that's the point.
No, Harbans, I don't think that's correct. I think it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable to have that noise in your life and then to have the peace later on. Otherwise, you won't be able to appreciate the peace later on.
Let's look at the text. Let's look at the text. Is this what the poet is saying? And when it was autumn and her winter sleep was upon her, and above her through all the air the leaves were falling, she muttered to herself, "Oh, these autumn leaves, they make such a noise, they scatter all my winter dreams." So she's come full circle.
Exactly.
And she hasn't got any insight into what she was saying before. So the poem is not showing us a learning curve in this at all. We don't learn. Apparently, we fall and we have to go through the hard way.
Yeah.
We don't learn from the beginning.
I think the most important part was the shattering of winter dreams. So I don't know, Sanjeev. I think Kumkum is wanting to say something for some time.
Yes, Kumkum, bolo. Yes.
Yes, I love the poem, and I thought it was of course, profound, as you all said, but I also thought it was sort of funny, it's
And
making fun
playful.
of us. It was playful, right? Because it's the her. There's no him or her in the beginning. Towards the end, it says it's her. And I like that part of it, that it's the woman who's coming out with this profound thing, or maybe not so profound, or maybe this woman is sort of full of herself, that she says, what does she say? And when it was autumn and her winter sleep was upon her, right? Not upon it. And above her, through all the air, the leaves were falling. She muttered to herself, right? It's this woman. So I thought, besides the profundity, I thought it was sort of amusing to me, at least.
So
I
is
have
this
this
about,
running joke with my husband about,
is this
that,
is this about menopausal women turning?
no.
Harbaz, that's a terrible thing to say.
No,
Oh God, how
Nothing
could
wrong.
you?
no.
Bugs,
No, no,
you're
no.
in trouble.
What about the andropausal male? The andropausal
Yeah.
male.
No, Kumkum made this into the autumn of our life, of a lady's life.
I just found it amusing that in the serious poem, you should have this interjection of her. I liked it. That's all.
So
Of course, it's
I could see
intentional.
it.
It's intentional.
I could see it as a play happening where there are two players, and it is almost like that a Shakespearean drama which is happening in front of you, and you can see the two players at work, and there is an observer who is the person who's actually able to see the two players at work, and that is the person who gains the wisdom, and the other two are just fulfilling their roles.
Can I say one thing? Harbans, can you add Harpreet? He got knocked off.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. That was what I was
Harpreet?
going to
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah.
He's waiting. Yeah.
Vinay, you wanted to go.
No, I wanted to say that
It was the
only,
same thing.
that Harbir is waiting in the room. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we have a few minutes, a minute or so more. Sanjeev, would you like to round up and tell us the name of the poet, etc.?
Sure. Well, interesting observations. I like these perspectives. The way I looked at it was within the context of these times when politeness is at a premium. So this is about chronic self-righteousness. When you mistake others for being a nuisance and interruption, and as somebody pointed out at one point, that it's nothing undoes dignity like peevish indignation, and this is what this picks up. And I think it was that I think Rahul talked about the keychad coming at you while you've been throwing it at others, and that is one of the contextual cores of this poem. This short poem, on its figurative language, of course, was written by a Lebanese American that most of you are very familiar with, Khalil Gibran.
Ooh.
And this is one of very old pieces of his. And it caught my attention because crisply it sort of shares with you how we need to reflect, and in these times, depending on which country you're in, the US, India, Turkey, Egypt, wherever, Russia, be careful what you say, it may come and get you.
Correct. Okay, time's up. Next poem. Are we ready? Vinay, I'm going to try and sing your poem. We need a bit of light relief, and you're going to take us somewhere. I'm just going to find your poem in the system. Okay, it's coming out a little bit on the side, I'm afraid. Maybe it'll come out okay when it comes to you. You can always turn your phone sideways.
Yeah, it will be sideways. You'll have to
Okay.
see it landscape.
I can't do anything from here more.
No, I think it's okay.
It's
People
okay?
will have
Okay.
to just turn their phones
Okay.
around and
Right.
see it. Yeah.
Right.
So tell me when.
Yeah, everybody have a read and then.
Should I?
Anybody not finished? Should we go? Everybody read?
Yes.
Okay. Vinay?
Okay, well, here goes. The poem is called Moments. So it starts. Kinda rolling down the mall. Catch me, guys, it's a free fall. Only had a couple of drinks. Don't look at me. It's not me who stinks. Told you stop, but no, there again. You poured and poured. Not my fault. I didn't kill the goose. It just dropped dead after pecking at my food. Was it the one with the golden eggs? Now he can hang it up on a peg. Oh, hey, haul me up. Lend me a shoulder. I know, I weigh like a boulder. Hey, did you see the barman making eyes at me? I was engaging with his eyes, you see. The Walnut Bar invited a story. I made up one that wasn't too gory. Dropped a crock tear into my wine and had his heart with mine entwined. How did I know his name was Sam? I thought he just spoke with a twang. Straightening my back, I said, I'm a lady. He looked me in the eye and said, definitely shady. Pour me a drink, you idiot man. It was a blur and I felt the road. Landed on my bottom, thrown by the turd. What, you bum? You just wait. I will be back, sober, to take you on again. That's my point. That's the poem.
Leela seems to be raising her hand, or
I find Dion is
unmute, unmute,
Dion.
Leela. Leela, unmute yourself.
I was just pondering because I knew Vinay as a young junior in Sivalik House and I used to comb her hair, and she's become a racy woman now. And I was smiling with my pondering with my forehead in my hand. Vinay?
You know, Leela would always tell me, why do you have stains on your shirt? I always was dropping food on my clothes. She's
I don't remember that act. I hope it didn't damage you for life.
Never, never. Nothing damaged me. Let me tell you that. Undamaged goods.
I only remember combing your hair, lovely long brown hair.
Okay, Leela, we'll
Good,
have
guys,
this.
come on.
We'll have more of this touchy-feely another time. Let's get into
Yes.
this poem. Let's get into this poem.
Exactly.
Come on, guys. I'm expecting
Vivek.
that.
Well, so I presume Vinay has written this poem.
Yeah,
although
I
she
think
hasn't yet admitted it, but this is becoming quite like her watermark.
Signature.
This picture, and this particular font she loves to use. I see
Her
in the
signature.
background. Yeah, I see in the background she has a Dubai, probably a coaster or something from the bar that she's talking about.
It's a bar called
Okay,
the
it's the
Irish
bar.
Village. Yeah.
All right, all right. So from what Leela just talked about you, or you were saying you were staining your clothes or constantly falling down, I see you ended up in a piquant situation of landing up flat on the floor outside the bar,
Absolutely.
which is very interesting. But yes, feisty lady, that is so well put.
Look at the courage of the poem to write this in the first person. It's not an easy thing to do, and to get away with it without all the muck landing on you. I mean, that's the achievement of the poem. It's being able to say something like this about your own self in the first person without it looking foolish, without the person looking foolish. It's a nice, funny poem. And if there's a message in that, it is, it's not in the poem, the message, but the effect of it is that you can go through the worst things and come out, if you know how to say them sweetly and make fun of yourself. I mean, that's what I was able to get out of this poem. Making a mess of yourself.
Leela has something to say. Yeah.
I just have to say that it's also got some little literary elements, you know, the golden goose and little references, and a real twist all the time in humor. And I think if you can laugh at yourself, you'll get far in life cheerfully. And I really admire Vinay for that. I think it's great.
But I must say here, Vinay, this is too obvious, or you must not make it so plain that it is you and your poem, because that makes it very hard for us to really look at the poem in it. It could be anybody, you see. If we did not know it was you, it would still be a very good poem, and it would be good for us to read in that light.
I'm in a very open space where I enjoy criticism, good, bad, ugly. I don't mind it at all, as long as somebody has something to say about it. I love reactions. You know, every poem is not profound. Some poems just invite a reaction. So I'd like a reaction on this.
Yeah, but you've got to allow us to react without knowing that it's your poem.
Yeah.
That's an important part of the rule of this.
Next time.
Yeah, please, because if at once we know it's you, then it makes a difference.
What can I do? I always write on imagery, and I think that's becoming one of my giveaways.
No, why just the text, separate the text out, and that's all.
I know, but then it just, anyway, I get your point.
Okay, moving on. Who else has anything more to say?
Next time when you write the poem, you can give it to somebody else to recite it instead of you giving it. Maybe it will not give it away.
Then there will
no,
not
Kulpreet, we will still know.
Okay.
Amrita, please.
Amrita, unmute.
Unmute Amrita.
To me, when I was going through this, it was almost like one of those, we've all been through these things. What I liked about it is the honesty with which certain nuances were admitted to and enjoyed, not just kind of shelved under or, and it was nice to kind of just look at it was like a landscape or a mindscape kind of passing by in front of you, right in front of you. So I enjoyed it to that effect. So for me, it wasn't something which was very, very plain. It also made me associate with certain things which were related to, say, sexuality, which were related to how we connect with each other and how we are actually thinking in our mind and talking something else.
True.
I think it's a bit of the school motto, right? The last two lines. I'll be
Where?
back sober to take
Always
you on
the
again.
school motto.
Where's the school motto?
It's the last two lines.
Wow.
I'll be back sober to take you on again.
Ah, okay.
Never give in.
You will have an opportunity to send me packing from the bar one more time, but I'll be back.
That's what I I was going to say too, Sanjeev. Wise men think alike.
Okay, Vinay, close the discussion for us.
Okay, so this was a light-hearted, fun-filled evening, which I won't say I really landed on my bottom, but it was a fun-filled evening where I almost did. And this was a bunch of friends that we'd gone to Dubai. And the Irish Village is a beautiful pub and restaurant area. And what drew my attention was this dead goose. There was a sculpture of the dead goose hanging on a peg. Now, only an Irishman could do something idiotic like that. So therefore, the goose comes into my poem out of nowhere. But yes, I was flirting with the barman, making eyes at him, without doubt. I was just enjoying my evening. And I, by nature, am a little flirtatious, and I enjoy that. So really, that was all that the poem was. Nothing profound, just a little slice of my life.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. When women say things like this to you, you can't imagine the pleasure it gives all the men who are listening.
I am very
Okay.
frank about my flirtatiousness.
We'll move on. Kumkum, a short poem from you. I'm going to send it now. Did you get it all, everybody?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Well, it's short, but not so easy. Let's see if we all get it. Okay, I think we can go now. Kumkum. Please go, please go. You are unmute, you're muted. Kumkum, you're muted.
Yes, sorry.
Start
Okay,
again, okay?
Yeah, okay, so the title of the poem is Epigram. And I had to look up the meaning of epigram because there's so many grams. So very short. Hast one ever seen man dig gold in a manure heap? Then open two eyes for digging among these. Our fellow townsmen, I turn up this nugget. That's the end.
One more time, as we ponder this difficult poem. One more time, Kumkum.
Okay. Has one ever seen man dig gold in a manure heap? Then open two eyes for digging among these. Our fellow townsmen, I turn up this nugget.
Amrita, please unmute and wake up and crack this poem for us.
Amrita is good at cracking them, actually.
Amrita, crack
Yes.
this poem for us.
All right. So when I'm looking at this, it seems to be a metaphor in a sense, talking about how from the filth you can actually land up with something amazing. And I mean, the golden nugget.
Yeah, what is the golden nugget? This golden nugget, what is that?
To me, it's not a real object. When I look at it, I feel like it's like I was saying, it's a metaphor of something valuable.
Yeah,
which
we
you
know.
find
Yeah,
valuable.
yeah. What's the truth? The message that that represents this golden nugget. Now, golden nugget is not, of course, gold. I mean, it's a bit of knowledge that the poem is pointing towards. What is that knowledge?
So, okay, let's just go back to the lines and look at them again. Has one ever seen man dig gold in a manure heap? So the whole idea that, when you look at something as unpleasurable as a manure heap and you're turning away from it, have you ever actually thought that there's something there and gone and digged in those spaces to actually find something? Now, that also means areas in your own life are probably within you. I don't know if it's introspective, but to me, it is an introspective poem because it's actually looking into you and saying the parts which you may not accept, maybe your potential lies there. To me, that golden nugget is that release of potential somewhere.
Is what, sorry?
Is the release of that potential into something concrete.
The release of that potential.
Yes.
The release of that potential. Well, you're giving us another take that the manure heap is not cow dung outside the house,
in
but
unknown places. So you have to basically, it's a journey of discovery.
Yeah.
May I add?
Please, Leela.
1 minute, one minute, Harbans. I think Rahul got knocked off. If you can add him on.
Oh, Rahul. He's not in the waiting room for me.
He's not? Okay, he sent me a message. Just look again because he just sent me a message.
Now he's in the waiting room. Admit. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, who was Leela? You were saying something.
Yes, I was thinking that nothing is too lowly. We should not consider anything too lowly to extract something good or something wise or learn a lesson from. How we tend to look down on things. There's nothing below. You can find treasures and wisdom in all sorts of things that you might consider below you or not worthy of thought, like the manure heap.
Yeah, I think that is what it is, but it doesn't actually show you what that nugget is, but the implied nugget is that there will be something in the manure.
Wisdom. I was thinking maybe some wisdom of some sort, not necessarily something tactile, but something more thought, in the mind, cerebral.
Sure. Vivek, go.
Yeah, for me, when I'm reading this now, it's almost as if it's a very Shakespearean kind of, the very first word is so like Old English. And I'm almost thinking that maybe this is like a spiritual trip, like, that our life is basically, as many people think, it's like really a piece of shit. There's so much problems everywhere. And, if you were to just sort of look inwards and really be serious about what you might be able to get out of it, then you might, and for me, like this nugget could be God. It could be like a spiritual, like attaining something way, way beyond what you would expect. It's a really like, I don't even know, maybe it's too far-fetched what I'm thinking, but
spirituality, not God, but lessons. I think you can say you'll find something in there that will help you. I would like to point out two or three ideas, two or three textual points in the poem. One is, has one ever seen man? So it's a generality, a philosophical statement, and therefore it is a little bit against this idea of a personal search. But that's just a point I'm making. The other one is epigram. I don't understand what this word epigram means either. Kumkum, please enlighten.
Epigram, I looked it up again. means a
Rahul
pithy
is
saying.
outside still wanting to be let in.
He's there. Oh, okay. It's a pithy saying or remark expressing an idea in a clever and amusing way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So after okay, go ahead.
No. You please go ahead, Kumkum.
Am I summing it up?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we've got more poems to do, Kumkum. Yeah. Please.
Okay. So I've always been looking for really short poems because our chair told us to look for short poems. And so my daughter recommended this poet to me, and I looked through his poems, and this was perhaps one of the shortest. And I didn't know the meaning of epigrams, so I looked it up. And then when I looked it up, I read the poem again, and I thought it was quite amusing because amusing, and of course, I think is very profound. I tend to sort of be up in the air and think I look for profound things, though I'm probably full of shit. But anyway, so first of all, I have never heard of a man looking in a manure heap. If you look at it realistically, you dig for gold in a mine, etc., but not in a manure heap. So I thought that was kind of funny. And then when you go in manure, you don't open your eyes. So it was very clever, I thought, and sort of amusing, And then, of course, to me, it implied that go into the things that you think you have preconceived notions of something, try going there, and, it's distasteful. They're Republicans, they're Trumpistas. Go in there, and open your eyes. You may actually find a gold nugget. And my husband would kill me, but my husband is not a Trumpista. He's not a deplorable, but he, if at this moment, would vote for Donald Trump over Biden. And for me, that's a total no-no. But he is a nugget. I do live with him. So it really hit home, that you go in over this outer veneer of this manure heap, and you open your eyes and you find wonderful things there, which are compassionate. And, we watch movies, he tears up. I don't cry, he cries, And so it meant a lot to me, this poem. That's what I would
The unexpected, perhaps, from
very nice.
Finding something in the unexpected.
Now, for the silent Trumpistas, you have to find the nugget in Trump.
Sorry,
not in Trump. He does not like Trump because every time I tell him that, look at that damn video of him womanizing, he goes, well, you don't have to look at that. Look at this. Look at the trade. Look at China, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, whatever.
Oh my God, that almost sounded as if you're giving him a power blow right now. Something fell, right?
No, I just tell him I don't want to talk about it. That's it.
Okay, very nice, Kumkum. Thank you very much, Raj. You have to save it now. We're very short of time. I'm sorry to cut short the discussion. The bell has rung. I'm sorry, Leela. No more discussion closed on this poem. Discussion.
My hand wasn't up. I was just wiping.
No. I'd like to know what is the name of the poet.
Oh, the poet.
Yes.
Unmute.
The name of the poet is William Carlos Williams.
Oh, yes.
And you must have heard of him. And he died in 1963. And he's considered a modernist. And he has a very interesting background if you read about him, how he was a physician who practiced in Maine. He was also a farmer. So he appreciated, sick people and farming and manure heaps and that kind of stuff. So he's a very interesting man if you read about him.
Okay, we have very difficult poems to do still. So we need our time, the little bit of time that we have left. And here it comes, a nice poem, which is going to challenge everybody here, I'm sure. And who do you think sent it to us? Amrita. Coming. Rahul left the room and is invited back.
Do let me know when I need to read out.
It's
We
coming to
haven't done the
everybody.
poem yet. Yeah.
It's coming. Amrita, are you on a small mobile phone?
Yes.
Because there's a small delay when you talk. It's okay. It's not so prominent.
All right.
I think just go a bit slower when you talk because it skips a sentence here and there. But anyway, we're all
we didn't
reading
get the
this
poem.
poem.
We've got the
We
poem.
didn't get the poem.
Oh, it's
I
come on
sent
the circle
Okay,
on the
okay,
OSPC
sorry,
circle.
sorry.
Yeah.
It's a very difficult poem. So
I know. I'm trying to make some sense of it. I wish I could write poems like this, which very make you think. I don't know what it is. Shall we?
I think you all. Well, we'll have a second reading of it when we when Amrita recites.
All right. Should I recite?
1 second, I'll be with you with my system. Okay, Amrita, go.
Okay. The Emperor of Ice Cream. Call the roller of big cigars, the muscular one, and bid him whip, in kitchen cups, concupiscent curds, let the wenches dawdle in such dress as they are used to wear, and let the boys bring flowers in last month's newspapers. Let B be finale of scene. The only emperor is the emperor of ice cream. Take from the dresser of deal that sheet on which she embroidered fantails once, and spread it so as to cover her face. If her horny feet protrude, they come to show how cold she is and dumb. Let the lamp affix its beam. The only emperor is the emperor of ice cream.
I challenge anybody to give us an explanation of this poem.
I love ice cream. That's the only thing I can get from it.
Yeah. And I love cigars.
And I love cigars too. So there's two things I like.
Yes.
I think you'll all be stuck here for a very long time. Let me have a go at it because I've had longer to study this poem. And I don't get it all, but I would say it has two ideas in it. One is, it's the emperor has no clothes. The idea of being naked and everybody thinks the emperor is dressed in finery. That idea is in the first paragraph. And in the second paragraph is, we all have no clothes when we are in the morgue, when we are dead, when you have to be covered with a sheet as you go to the other side. I think these two ideas are in there. Now, with this much, try to figure out the rest and have another read. Even then, we don't get it all. I don't get it all. But I think there's at least this much in there. Anybody else want to have a crack?
Well, I could perhaps say something.
Bolo, bolo.
I think this thing about the muscular one and bid him whip, etc. She's referring to how ice cream is made by hand and all, not in the machine in the old days. And,
I didn't get that. I didn't get that, Kumkum. Is what is referring to?
Sort of a metaphor that ice cream in the old days was made by hand. You had to be strong to churn it.
Yeah.
And then in these days, then the emperor is the ice cream. So the same way the person who gets to the top, right, who's the emperor, who's the Donald Trump or whoever you want to call it, has a lot of people at the bottom propping him up or her up. So that's one thing, to, let the wenches dawdle in such dress. I mean, there's all kinds of drama going on for somebody to appear as the emperor. And then take from the dresser of the deal that, the person who sort of dressed this whole thing, that a lot of junk is covered. There might be horny feet, there might be, and this person who's sort of the emperor is actually pretty cold, right? Because if you had some emotions, if you had some goodness, you'd be caring for the guy who's rolling the cream or the cigar roller or whatever it is. But this person at the center who's sort of I don't believe in it completely, I'm not a cynic, is probably pretty cold because he tolerates all this. So it's my take.
Okay, we'll take that in. Vinay, you're having a go.
I feel that the second paragraph, that seems to be talking about death. That she had embroidered her shroud, and which is now covering her, and still doesn't cover her totally. Her feet are protruding. But they show now she's cold and she's dumb. And I don't know where the lamp comes in, or the ice cream, but I just feel that this is somewhere talking about death and a shroud.
Yeah, there are bits we get, but we don't get the punchline.
No, I don't get the punchline either.
Let me have a go at just going through the first part line by line. Call the roller of big cigars, the muscular one, and bid him whip concupiscent curds. I imagine that means ice cream, but I'm not quite sure. Let him make something delicious. Let the wenches, the girls, dawdle in any old clothes, in such dress as they are used to wear. And let the boys bring flowers in last month's newspapers. I think to the funeral, let girls come in any old clothes, and let the flowers come without special wrapping. Let B be the finale of seem. Let being as you are be the end of what you present, namely, come as you are without any flourish, without any adornment. The only emperor is the emperor of ice cream. The only emperor is the person who gives us delicious food, tasty desserts. He's the only person. All the others are not important, and not even this funeral which you are coming to. Take from the dresser of deal, and that is a dead body, and this is the funeral to which this female, the female person who's died, she's cold and dumb. Let the light fix on this person, see her for who she is. The only emperors in this world are the emperors of ice cream, namely those who give us delicious desserts. But I'm not sure if the only emperors of this world are people who give us delicious ice cream. But that's what the poem is saying, it seems to me. I think, Amrita, you have to come in now.
Well, ice cream is not delicious for everyone, right? For some diabetics, it's poison. So, you don't have to.
I agree. It's a very tricky emperor, this emperor.
All right. So all of you have got little bits and pieces. So I'm going to start with telling you who the poet is. It's Wallace Stevens.
Why are you starting with that?
There's a reason. So Wallace Stevens is an abstractionist. So when he's writing his poetry, he will interlace landscape with abstraction. So that is why you get a little phased with how you're reading the poem. But coming to the paragraphs, now he is actually talking about the olden way of making ice cream, but this entire poem is about a wake. Okay. About a wake. So, you know, a funeral, and after that, you have this little celebration which happens.
Aha, yes.
Yes. So this is about that. And in the olden days, you had, so they're interlacing things which are happening here. So you'll find 2 or 3 images which are going to fuse in this. One is that he's using the image of the ice cream the way it was made in the ancient way, and which was basically, this would have been in the time about 15 years before him, the ice cream maker would have been there. And he's calling the boys with the big cigars and the muscular ones to actually, you know, there is this whole scene of a kitchen where these things are happening and where this ice cream is being made to be served at this old lady's, you know,
funeral.
Yeah. So then what happens is, there is also, so there's this, if you notice the second line, it says the muscular one and bid him whip. That means you have to command him to whip the ice cream. Basically, it is also a suggestion towards life. Okay. And then he comes back to the whole thing of concupiscent curds. Now, you know, concupiscent, if you read it, it's actually supposed to be a sensual desire, and it's not looked at as very nice within the biblical context. But he's talking of how we have desire in life, and the ice cream somewhere reflects that also. Then he talks about let the wenches. He does not mention them as maids or ladies. He mentions them as wenches. So basically going to the whole thing of, again, the sensuality of the entire thing, and saying, you know, they would not have good dresses, as Harbans was talking about. They'd probably wear what they had because it is the funeral. And then you have the boys bringing flowers from last month's newspapers. So these are flowers which are not fresh in vases and things like that. These are just there for the funeral. So the whole thing of decay, but at the same time, there is life happening. There is a contradiction which works within this form. Let B be finale of seem. So basically, he's literally saying, let there be no illusion and give way to just give way to plain reality in the scene. The only emperor is the emperor of ice cream. Now, ice cream has a tendency to melt when it is where it is. So you have to live in the moment in that sense. And even in he's talking about death and life, and he's talking about both in the same way, and saying, you know, at the end of it, it is that moment you have. And the emperor is the emperor of ice cream. That means somewhere he's talking of time as the element, as the key element. And then he goes on to say, take from the dresser of deal. Now, deal is a cheap kind of a fine of fir wood, and lacking the 3 glass knobs. So obviously, you know, the sheet which is lying to cover the dead body is lying in that dresser, which was once handled by this woman, and it has memories and associations, etc. But and she's also been someone, he's not, the only few traces of it, saying that this is what is left of it, which is, and you know, some embroidery which she had done, you know, little snippets which do not attach each other to create a story on the woman. So again, an existentialist kind of an outlook to things, and spread it so as to cover her face. So when you cover her face, maybe her legs will show. Again, when he uses the word horny feet, he does he means also calloused feet, but there is also that suggestion of sensuality again. So he's talking about the desire for life and the way death works, and within it how time is encapsulated. And they come to show how cold she is and dumb, let the lamp affix its beam. Now, the idea of putting the lamp and, giving focus to it is also to have you see things as they are and then move from there. The only emperor is the emperor of ice cream. That means the only thing you have is the moment.
Okay.
So the emperor of ice cream is the emperor of taste here and now.
Yes. So it's the here and now which makes everything.
Another way of saying it could be the only emperor is the emperor made of ice cream, like a snowman, and it melts.
Yeah. The other part with this poem is that it's whimsical in nature. You know, the things have passed, things have happened. I mean, even the ice cream maker, it's happened before. And he's referring to the past. He's always kind of going back to it and saying, and it's basically, it's not a lament exactly, but there is that kind of a thing of moments past, which will never come back again.
Interesting.
Okay, we get the first bits. We only just did not get the only emperor is the emperor of ice cream. It's a very funny turn of phrase to make the statement that you are saying it is making, that the only emperor is the emperor of the here and now. And only the here and now is the emperor of all sense, the only thing that matters.
We are basically very fragile and temporary beings in this world. And that is what we have. Our biggest asset is actually the moment, the time.
Okay, we'll accept that. We'll accept that. We didn't get any of it. But anyway, Raj, go ahead, please.
All right.
Raj, go, Raj.
There's a little side note about this. It says about this poem. This poem is apparently set in Key West, a place that inspired much of Stevenson's work, and where it was the tradition to have ice cream at funerals.
Oh, okay.
What was that? I didn't get that. Please repeat, somebody. Vinay?
This was that ice cream was always had at funerals in this particular place where he lived.
Key West.
Where this poet lived.
He went to the Key West, where they used to traditionally make ice cream for the wakes and the funerals.
Yeah, so that would fit better. That would be that at a funeral, the most important thing is the delicious ice cream, as we traditionally have at these funerals. And live in the here and now. Death comes and goes. Death comes and goes, and the funeral does not have to be elaborate. See it for what it is. Shine the light on it. That's a dead body, and that's how it is. Take it. Face the reality. Take the punch on the chin. Stand up. Be tough.
And interestingly, like, are not about romance or something soft. They have a little bit of a chill in them. So basically, it's a very stoic, realistic kind of a poem.
Okay, thank you. And Amrita, you gave us a nice test. You stretched us. But now we have, are we game for a couple more poems which have not been read, including mine? But I'm not so keen on that. But there's one by Dion, which I would like. Dion, is he still here? Where is he? I don't see Dion anymore. Oh my God. Poor Dion.
Past 11 o'clock at night, maybe he's here.
Oh, sorry, Dion.
Can we hear yours? Anna, I can wait.
We'll have Dion. We'll have Dion another time. We'll have Dion another time. Okay, I'll send you a poem.
Sanjeev has something to say, Harbans.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Sanjeev, where are you?
No. I'm just
Sanjeev?
apologizing. I have to make myself scarce. So I'll read the poem later, but I can't.
Sure, please. Good night, Sanjeev. Good night. Good night.
Thank you.
Late lunch.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to send you my poem and see what you think. My poem, not written by me.
Yeah, coming, babe.
We didn't hear the name of the last poet.
Wallace. Harbans,
Okay.
have you sent your poem?
Yes, it's just gone.
Okay, yeah, here it is.
Mhm.
I said it in the beginning. His name is Wallace Stevens.
Ah, Wallace Stevens. That's a poet I know. Good. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
In a minute, we'll still.
Poems are very difficult, I have to say.
There's a problem about the italics, which don't come up in the WhatsApp.
This is another very difficult poem.
All right, then it's good for you.
It is. It'll get my brain working.
Yes. Okay. It's called The Darling Letters. Some keep them in shoeboxes away from the light. Saw memories blinking out as the lid lifts. Their own recklessness written all over them. My own. Private jokes no longer comprehended pull their punchlines, fall flat in the gaps between endearments. What are you wearing? Don't ever change. They start with darling, end in recriminations, absence, sense of loss. Even now, the fists bud flowers into trembling. The fingers trace each line and see the future then. Always. Nobody burns them, the darling letters, stiff in their cardboard coffins. Babykins. We all had strange names which make us blush as though we'd murdered someone under an alias long ago. I'll die without you, die. Once in a while, alone, we take them out to read again, the heart thudding like a spade on buried bones. Well, if you haven't received or written any love letters, this poem won't mean much to you. But if we have, then this is a poem to enjoy.
No, it's a lovely poem. Yeah.
So do we get, see the italics, the the quotes from those letters. My own. What are you wearing? Don't ever change. Always. Babykins. I'll die without you. Die. These are quotes from the letters, but are in italics, which you can't make out in the WhatsApp. Okay, who wants to have a go? Vivek, yes.
There isn't that much to go. All I really wanted to say was, while you yourself as an adult or in later years can savor the fragrance of these beautiful love notes that were passed around, God forbid you if your spouse found them out lying around in those cardboard boxes.
That's why they have to sit in shoe boxes hidden away in some corner in the attic.
But there are very, very few relationships or spouses who don't finally get, they get to see everything in your life. No matter
Let me
where
tell
you hide it.
On this very subject, on a very personal level, my wife found out my shoe box of love poems, and listen to what she did. She went to the house of the girl and left them at her door. And I thought that was the most touching thing a wife can do to her husband's ex-girlfriend's letters, meaning they have to go back to where they came from. They're not allowed in this house, but they're not to be torn up. Well, there we are. Who's got a love life to reveal here?
I think we all have, but we may not want to reveal it right now.
Okay.
Amrita is going to. Okay.
So when I look at it from my perspective, when I see this, the whole thing about the start of a love relationship and the letters which are attached to it would be more with rose-tinted glasses, and as we go along, the reality starts setting in, and you have those recommendations which kind of come in, and the reality of life sets in. So that kind of comes in there. The thing about how we are so, I think in some ways all humans are so desperate for love that without actually getting into that zone very easily, we want to have these endearments, and we want to, comes across in the poem too. So, I mean, I could take a name, but I will say honey or this or that, right? So there is that assertiveness of wanting that love and that insecurity with that love, which shows in a very gentle way, which is, I find it a little refreshing. At the same time, the vulnerabilities are shown through this poem. So I like that.
I feel that this is, somebody who wants to, not somebody, I think everybody likes to hang on to their love letters because it is a part of your life which was very gentle, tender, reckless. And you had your own little private.
Have fragrance. It's like memories.
You had your own little private jokes. You had your, this is our dance music, things like that. So I think in a way it's really quite beautiful just to have some love letters lying in a shoebox, maybe tied up with a blue ribbon.
Yeah, but I may add that love letters could also be from your spouse, and you can sit down and read them together. It needn't be from somebody where your spouse is trying to find out if there's a girlfriend. So
that's
quite true,
Kulpreet. Your spouse, and you get together and say, okay, this was the first letter I wrote to you, and this was accordingly. So that's how it should be.
So now there's no newsletter. There are no letters, and they're only text. If you know the way my love life works right now.
No, we are talking about our time.
We are talking about
our time. We exchange a lot of letters.
Kumkum.
Just adding to what Kulpreet said, I think it could also be people who write a diary. You write a diary once a week or once. You're taught to do it every day. I've never done it every day. But when you look back, these are usually, there are many days when you love yourself and the other days that you don't love yourself so much. And to read that. It's just, you know, as I was reading it, it's like, could it be somebody talking about their own life? Because we are in love with ourselves. And that's how we commit most of our fallacies, because we always believe I am right. And when that happens, guess what? You are loving yourself too much or in the wrong way. Because if you really loved yourself, you would love the other person, right? Because that's what it's about. But that's just my take on it.
Your cat is behind you?
Yes, she when she hears me talking, she has to poke her nose in. She needs to know what's going on.
Cute.
We don't have that much time, and we want to close on time. And but I'll just say a couple of things which you may like to pick up in this poem. One is, nobody destroys their love letters. They are very precious, and you'll find people hang on to them. And even in this new generation of messages and WhatsApp and so on, I have found people, they keep the best conversations, they try to save them safely somewhere. And when important words are exchanged, it's not the medium that matters, it's the content, it's the message. And words of endearment exchanged in life at any stage are very important for people. And it takes a long time to get over a love affair. And then afterwards, you don't want to go near it for donkey's years. And they sit in these coffins till the day you pick them up again, and then your hand trembles when you read them again. So there's a pessimistic side to this poem, that love affairs come to an end and we miss them, we guard that wound inside us, and when we revisit it, it makes us tremble again. And so this is a serious poem. It's a pessimistic poem. Vivek.
You know, I just have been racking my brain. There is this ghazal I know that I've heard, which talks so much of exactly what this poem of yours describes. And it just struck me. This is a Jagjit Singh ghazal, which is Tere khushboo mein likhe khat main jalata kaise. If you haven't heard this ghazal, please hear it. It's a beautiful ghazal.
Lovely,
Actually,
lovely.
it sounds exactly like the poem.
Exactly what I'm saying. I was just racking my brain. There's something so similar, I know. And it's probably written by Gulzar Saab.
But there you are, you see, it's a universal thing. Love letters are the most precious things we have.
And it's lovely to open them sometimes and just even hear the crackling of paper, because now they're old. And sometimes a little flower pops out as well, which may have been given to you and preserved.
Indeed, indeed.
But this young generation doesn't know all this. No flowers popping out, no rustling of paper.
Emoticons. Everything is emoticons.
Emoticons.
Yeah. Emojis. I'm sorry if I'm even saying emoticons. Emojis. But yes, you know, the rustling of paper, there used to be these envelopes addressed and maybe even sealed with a kiss at the back. All kinds of things.
Sure.
Yeah.
Probably squirted with Charlie.
Ah, well.
You remember that
perfume?
That sweet perfume?
Yeah.
They're
terribly, actually very cloyingly sweet perfume.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's enough for one day. We've overshot by a quarter of an hour, 20 minutes, but we've had a nice evening. And thank you for staying all this while. Anu, new to the group, you've listened carefully. It's nice of you to have attended with us. And it's been nice for you to come, Anu. And everybody else.
Really, thank you, Kulpreet. I'm so happy.
And Kulpreet, President Kulpreet actually came and joined us. Yes.
So next time I'm going to present a poem. I got encouraged. And,
wow. Lovely.
And Harbir and Rahul.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
It's really lovely having newcomers and really most welcome. How lovely to have.
And Leela, And next week, next month, I think Arun will join and
Hmm.
Leela will also send a poem.
The name
Raj?
of the name of the poet is Carol Ann Duffy.
Correct. Sorry, I didn't mention. Carol Ann Duffy, the poet I told you about the last time as well, poet laureate for a few years, and so on. Okay, should we come to an end now? And I'll stop the recording. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Vivek has something to say.
Oh, Vivek.
I am just summing up what I do every time. Please send me your descriptions and your poems and the poets and everything by next Wednesday.
Yes.
Next Wednesday, everybody.
Thank you, Vivek.
Thank
we
you.
need that. We need that. Okay, good night, everybody. All over.
Thank you very
Bye.
much. Yes,
Lovely
Bye.
evening.
Thank you,
Bye.
Harbans.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.